World War I. Good for both games and movies. Take note, people. Hello once again, watchers of good movies. My name is Nick Pell, and this is once again coming from my apartment. Now today we are going to be talking about the film Wonder Woman. This is the fourth film in the DC expanded universe thing that they have going on right now. We have Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad, now we have Wonder Woman. And is it the film to finally be good in this universe per se? Let's talk about it. Gal Gadot, I don't know how you say her name. I'm saying Gal Gadot because that's how I say it. She is pretty good in this film. I really enjoyed her performance as Diana Prince, as Wonder Woman. She is a badass on screen. Her character is extremely fun to watch in fight scenes and dialogue. She really made the movie for me, and I really enjoyed her performance because she has this energy to her, which is really just ecstatic and really gets you going and really gets you amped up and rooting for her. She just has a sense of justice because she's grown up with these stories of how the Amazons are supposed to protect society and rid mankind of war and all its evilness. And so she is inspired by those stories. And whether or not they're true, kind of plays out over the course of the film and how much she can actually accomplish. Chris Pine and Steve Trevor also really good in this film. I really enjoyed him and Gal Gadot's chemistry throughout the course of the film. It worked really well. In their scenes together, there's a lot of comedy between them. There's a lot of just hysterical, like, sexual tension between them as well. Just because she's so naive about the way that the world works and just things that she hasn't been taught because she's never grown up with men. And so there's just things that she's not used to and not aware of. It's just really funny. And that's one of the things I really enjoyed about this film is that the dialogue, at least in the first hour where it's still more lighthearted, it's really funny. And I found myself just laughing a lot during the dialogue scenes because they're hysterical. And you see a little bit of it in the trailer. It's really well done on screen, and I really enjoy that aspect. One thing which impressed me immensely about this film is the fact that it pulls from a bunch of different genres, and it works really well. At its core, this is a war film because it shows how brutal and how grotesque the First World War was, because we see soldiers on the ground dead and being killed, and the gases which were starting to be used with biological warfare and gastral warfare and stuff like that in the trenches, and you just get to see the horrors of this thing. And it was called the Great War because it was the first war that a lot of people around the world all took place in. It wasn't just a big European spat. So I did appreciate that aspect of it. And we have Diana Prince, this person who's been just off on her own island literally for the majority of her life. She comes into the situation, she sees the horrors around her, she wants to help, and yet she is told by everyone who she's journeying with that there's not a lot you can do. You cannot save everybody, and that's a really tough lesson for her to learn. So that's why this one's also a coming of age story, because you have to learn that there's not always things that you can do. You have to learn what you can accomplish in a realistic way. And I really appreciate those themes throughout the course of this film because they really resonate with me personally. And there are themes which I felt like made sense for this character who, again, has been isolated for the majority of her life. It's also obviously a superhero film. We have those aspects to it. They're played out more in the second half of the film, where she just goes and becomes a badass pretty much. There's a scene in the trailer where you see her walking across no man's land. That scene is fantastic throughout the course of the film. It's about a 10-minute long scene in total, and she just kicks ass entirely. She's awesome. I love her in those scenes. And the choreography, when we have like these really awesome fight scenes, that all looked really good. There is a little bit of slow-mo in those fight scenes, which I didn't necessarily think was necessary. I'm not a huge fan of slow-mo in movies for the most part, so that was a little bit of a thing that bothered me. I stopped noticing it as much towards the end of the film. Maybe it just stopped being used, or maybe I just stopped noticing it or something, but it is something which I did have an issue with. I also thought that the music was really well used throughout the course of the film as well, because there are fight scenes, again, in which certain music is used. They call back Wonder Woman's theme that you hear, or that you would have heard in the trailer if you'd seen that, and I thought it all just worked really well, the music, mixing and everything. Really well done. Now that being said, as much as I did enjoy this film, I did have an issue with it, and that is the villain of the film. Yeah, I'm just getting really good at like just seeing certain hints which are dropped towards the beginning of movies, or just subtly throughout the course of it, like I did with Alien Covenant recently. But yeah, I kind of pinpointed the main villain just in the back of my mind right away when there's just a scene that happens or a look that's given towards the beginning of this film. I'm not going to spoil who it is, obviously, but there's just something which threw me off about that said character, and when it was revealed who the ultimate villain was, I was just like, I had a feeling about you. He's also not really that interesting of a villain because with going a little bit into the ending, not a whole lot with like spot points or anything, but you do kind of find out that Ares, who's the main bad person, he's been more or less laying the groundwork for humanity and just giving them the options to do bad things when it's not really him controlling anybody. And so it did kind of make for a not very satisfying ending for me personally, because once the final battle is done, it's like, what did we actually accomplish here? Not a lot, ultimately, in the end, because you gotta remember, after this we have World War II, which happens about 20 years after the end of World War I, and then we have the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the Iraq War. Everything else which happens after that point still happens, and still bad things still go down. And there's also no post-credit scene. I would have appreciated that because this is the last film before Justice League. I would have liked a little bit of a teaser into that. Maybe. You guys, overall, I really enjoyed Wonder Woman. I found it to be a really fantastic film, probably the best one in the DC universe thus far in regards to plot, story. I still really enjoyed Batman v Superman, but that's just me personally. But I really enjoyed Wonder Woman as well. I thought it was really good. Gal Gadot did fantastic. Chris Pine was an awesome second to her. And while I did have issues with the end of the film, it's still a really fun thing to check out, and I highly recommend seeing it if you had the opportunity. But guys, those are my thoughts on Wonder Woman. Let me know yours in the comments down below. Did you like it as much as I did? Did you hate it more than I did? Let me know. Like, favorite, comment, and subscribe once again if you so choose. I appreciate it immensely. And as always, people, my name is Nick Pell, and once again, keep on watching.